Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Chris Liberto. Our next guest is currently in his 36th season of coaching at Notre Dame. In that time, he has built the men's lacrosse program from the ground up, tallying over 300 wins and making 26 NCAA Tournament appearances. Now, despite decades of success and accolades, however, the ultimate goal of a championship always seemed to elude his teams. That is until last May, when his team was able to hold off a late rally by the Duke Blue Devils to secure the program's first ever national title.
The Fighting Irish play like a champion today. Notre Dame with its first title in men's lacrosse.
That video will never get old. Joining me now, Bomber family head men's lacrosse coach Kevin Corrigan. And Kevin, I'll tell you, that video has got to bring back some great memories. I really appreciate you taking time tonight to talk about it.
Absolutely, Chris. Happy to be here.
You bet. So let's go back to that. Obviously, we're in the middle of a great season this year, but take me back to that moment. You know, after the game, after the match, you said, I don't quite know what to feel yet. Was there a time since then where it's really sunk in that you're a national championship coach?
You know, it's such a funny thing because as a coach, you're constantly looking forward and anticipating what's next and everything else. And you know, so even then, after we won, it was like, that's great. Now recruiting starts, and now I got to get back to work and all that. But the one thing, you know, I read a thing recently where somebody said, that to their team before a championship game, hey, if we win today, we walk together forever. And that's a pretty good way to describe it, because as my mother reminded me after we lost to Georgetown, I hope they know they're only champions for a day. And that was brilliant as well, right? So that team, you're champions that day. The next day, everybody who's coming back, it's a new team, it's a new year. Let's get on with that. But for that group that was there that day and finished that season, they walked together forever. So pretty special.
Yeah, very wise quote. And like you said, it doesn't last long. Let's go back before that, too. 2022, I remember, being here in South Bend, there was, Notre Dame left off that list in the postseason. Now, last year was built as kind of, not a revenge year, but kind of a prove-it year. Like, how did you message that to your team after the disappointment of 22 and to come back and have the ultimate crown at the end of last year?
Well, I think the biggest thing was we said from the moment it happened, like, don't whine and complain. Nobody wants to hear us complain, because at the end of the day, we didn't win enough games to make it absolutely certain that we were in the tournament. So that's on us. So let's not worry about any committee or what anybody else said or did. We didn't win enough games. So let's worry about ourselves, control what we control, and put ourselves in a situation next year where that can't happen to us.
Well, and since that championship, Coach, obviously you've seen the crowds at Arlotta. I mean, it's just grown. Talk about the atmosphere, what it's been like in the stadium. Clearly, there's been a big difference. You've always drawn big crowds, but this year, when you see that berm full of fans, what's that feeling like?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a game or two every year where we did that instead of, this year, 5 straight games where we've got 5,000 people. And if you'd have told me 20 years ago that would be the situation, that lacrosse games in South Bend in the spring would be standing room only, I'm not sure I'd have believed you. But it's pretty neat, and it's certainly great for our guys. I mean, what a terrific environment for them.
And you don't get the best of weather days sometimes, too.
Yeah, we've been lucky this year. Yeah,
absolutely. So, you go from the championship. What's the message been to the team this year? Because like you said, it lasts for a day in some cases. And when you're on the top of that mountain, that's when teams are really gunning for you. And as we switch now to this season, what's been the message to keep them motivated this year?
The biggest message that we're sharing with our team right now on a daily basis is you can't stand still. If you stand still, somebody's going to pass you by. And it's hard when you're winning. It's hard to convince your team every day that they've got to prepare with a sense of urgency, and we've got to play with a sense of urgency, and so that's a little bit challenging just because of the nature of everything. Listen, schoolwork interferes. I shouldn't say interferes. It's the main focus, but I mean, there's so many different things that can distract our guys from being focused every day, and when you're having success, it's kind of human nature to be a little bit content with that, and so we need to continue looking and searching every day for the ways that we can get better, you know, and that's kind of the consistent message that we've had all year.
Sure, and I have to imagine it's got to help when you've got the Kavanaugh brothers, Liam Entenmann, you know, in goal. Talk about that senior leadership and really what you hope they instill on some of these younger players this year.
You know, I think more than anything else, what those guys bring, we compete at an elite level, right? I mean, even when we're not playing well, when we're not executing the things that we think we should be doing, and we're not necessarily handling the ball or shooting as well or whatever else, we never stop competing. We just compete at an elite level, and that's what those guys have brought to us. You know, it's a combination of their toughness and their mental toughness and their focus and their absolute commitment to what they're doing and their teammates, and then you know and then their willingness at this point in their careers to be leaders and to step out in front of everybody and say, you know, this is what we need to do. What you're doing is not enough. We need to do more, and we need to do it better. And when your team is led within, then it's a much easier ride for a coach. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's been a joy to watch them, Coach. This year, you know, younger guys. Obviously, as we look to some of those players, Jordan Faison, you can't go, you know, wrong with a guy like that. But tell me a little bit about his athleticism and what he brings to the table as a two-sport athlete. Many folks watching this know him from the football team, but he was originally a lacrosse guy for you, right?
Yeah, he came, you know, originally committed to Notre Dame as a lacrosse player, and then you know, football actually was great to work with us and allow Jordan to have the opportunity to you know, be a preferred walk-on, come through summer camp and everything. And during that time, he proved to them that he was more than a lacrosse player. And so he's a special kid. He just, again, he's got a very poised approach. Nothing seems to shake him. He's got great confidence in himself. You know, it's funny, you know, late in the football season, a lot of people were saying to him, well, you're going to play lacrosse now, you know, now that you've had success in football. And he's like, I said all along I was going to do this. Now, I'm not surprised I'm having success in football. I'm sorry, you are, but I'm not. And you know, that was part of the plan all along, was to compete in football and then play lacrosse. So he's a great kid, and from a great family. They've done a wonderful job of raising a kid that can handle everything that's come his way.
You bet. Well, we love watching him, the Kavanaugh brothers. Coach, best of luck to you as you finish up this year, and you got the ACC tournament just around the corner, too.
We do. We have Virginia this weekend and the ACC tournament the next, Chris.
Sounds good. Hey, good luck to you, Coach, as we finish out the year.
Thanks so much.